it's me, Marcy. I'm live in my own kitchen this afternoon with some quick air fryer tips. So the last time I used my air fryer, I noticed there was a little bit of steam coming up the door, so that tells me it's time for regular maintenance on my air fryer door. But before I get to that, there are a couple other places. Right up here at the top where your door latches, you're always going to want to take something pokey like a cake tester or maybe a toothpick if you're careful, but poke that in every now and again and make sure you don't have crumbs in there. That anything that'll stop the door from closing is going to be a problem. So that's the first place that I check. The second place that I check is always in the door, all around. It has this rubber gasket, and I can see that my rubber gasket has started to pull away from the spot that it's supposed to be. So I'm going to do the second thing that I like to do to make sure it's always working right is take the door off and make sure that I clean all of the, I clean really well in all of the grooves so that I can make sure there are no crumbs. Let's just pull this aside. And so when I take my door off, I can see that this gasket has removed itself a little bit. So what I think happens is when I'm going to rush to get it put away, if I wipe it while it's hot, the rubber gasket is more flexible and it pulls out further than it should. And then as it cools, it can't go back in. So if you ever see that your rubber gasket has come out at all, don't panic. It's easily fixed. So looking at your door, there are 6 screws right here. And so all you're going to want to do is just take those 6 screws out. Oh, I should have had a couple taken out before I turned on the camera. So you just pop those out, put them in a dish for safekeeping, because you're going to need them again after, of course. So this is regular maintenance. I wouldn't think twice about doing this, and I do, in fact, in my own kitchen, do it about twice a year. All right, so once those 6 screws are out, and they are kind of greasy, to be honest, because we cook things, you know, the grease drips off of them. That's the whole point. And it's windy in there. So the grease gets in places that you'll be surprised. So when the first time I took my door apart, I was a little bit mortified at what was kind of sitting inside there, but I was thankful to have the chance to clean it out. Okay, so on my last one, we'll set those aside. And then as soon as I've taken those out, it releases 3 parts. So we've got the metal piece, the gasket, and the door. And I'm going to show you my door. Look at this. Can you see? There's lines of just grease in there. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to wash it, all 3 pieces, in hot soapy water. And then I'm going to leave it in the dish tray to drain overnight. I'm going to completely submerge my door, and water is going to get in between and it's going to leave water spots. But the door is fairly shaded, and so they're not as obvious as you might think. So if water spots are going to be a problem for you, I definitely wouldn't get water inside them, but they're not a problem for me, so I'm going to vigorously, you know, clean this inside of the hot soapy water and get it clean everywhere. And then I'm going to leave it just draining upright overnight, and then tomorrow I'm going to come back and put it all together. So I have another door here that's completely taken apart. It's completely cleaned and it has drained. So if you look closely, you'll see that it has those water spots I was talking about. So if those are going to bother you, you shouldn't do this, okay? You should be more careful about how you clean it and not get water on the inside. So now we just take the seal and carefully put it back where it belongs in the track. Honestly, it's easy as can be. So we set it back, and then we'll put the metal piece back on. And the metal piece then will hold the, you'll be able to see the gasket has kind of a track itself, and the metal piece will sit inside of that. So yeah, and then you just take the screws, pop them back in, one at a time, easy as pie. After I'm finished, I just put it, now before I put it all together, of course, I will clean all the little nooks and crannies there, make sure there's no crumbs. Anytime someone has trouble with their air fryer shutting off mid-cooking, it's surprising when that happens, but it's usually because the door isn't closing properly. So these are the things that I check first. The little spot at the top where the door clamps shut, and then I check the gasket, and then we check in the bottom crease there to make sure all of the crumbs are out of there. So this solves, I would guess, 98% of the air fryer problems. So if you're having any issues, if you see that you have steam coming up your door while you're cooking, or, oops, I got that one going crooked. I should watch what I'm doing. Or if it shuts off mid-cooking, you know, this is a quick fix for all of those things. All right, one more. Okay, I love starting with a fresh door. So I do this probably 2 or 3 times a year. Make sure those are all in tight so that the seal stays in tight. So now that it's clean and fresh in there, I definitely won't be wiping the door until it's cooled, because I believe that's when it all happens. All right, so we'll just, I'll take a cloth and clean in there. You can see I use my mess catcher tray for my drip tray these days, and then you just put it all back together, just like that. Good as new. So it's regular maintenance on your air fryer. I hope you give it a try, and let me know if you need help. Thanks, everybody.